I kept brushing my teeth in the dark after my father died because I could not stand looking at my own face anymore. And that was when I understood something inside me had quietly stopped participating in my life long before the funeral. Not dramatically, not all at once, just little pieces going missing over the years. First excitement, then trust, then rest. By 29, I could answer emails at midnight, negotiate contracts half asleep, remember every bill due date in my head, and still forget to eat dinner until my hands shook. People called me resilient constantly. I started to hate that word. Resilient usually meant nobody was coming. 3 months before all this, my father was still sending me blurry photos of birds from his backyard. He never learned how to properly use his phone camera, so every picture looked haunted. A wing in the corner, a branch, sky, sometimes his thumb. Then suddenly there were hospital corridors and plastic chairs and doctors explaining timelines in soft voices that made me irrationally angry. I remember wanting someone to just say something ugly and honest for once. Instead, everybody spoke carefully while my father disappeared in front of us piece by piece. The worst part was how ordinary everything around it remained. People still bought coffee. I still had meetings. My landlord still raised my rent. One afternoon I left the oncology ward to take a work call beside a vending machine. I was discussing quarterly projections while my father slept 2 floors above me with part of his speech already gone. I sounded calm on the phone, professional. Afterward I sat in my car gripping the steering wheel so hard my wrist cramped, and all I could think was this cannot possibly be how people live. But apparently it was. I had already survived one version of losing myself before that. At 22, I moved overseas for a man named Daniel because I thought love was supposed to require sacrifice. Movies teach women that constantly. Leave your life, start over, be chosen. He cried the first time I visited him. Actually cried, told me nobody had ever understood him the way I did. I built an entire future around that sentence. In the beginning he was attentive in a way that felt intoxicating. He remembered tiny details. How I hated cold butter on toast. Which songs made me carsick. He used to wait outside my evening classes with coffee because he said he worried about me walking alone. I mistook observation for care. That still embarrasses me. The ugliness arrived slowly enough that I defended him for years, even to myself. He never hit me. People always pause when I say that, like they need categories. Good husband, bad husband. But some people can make you feel frightened without ever raising a hand. Daniel had a way of looking at me during arguments that made me feel stupid before I even spoke. Sometimes he would laugh softly while I cried, not cruelly exactly. Worse, tired, like I was exhausting him by having feelings. Money became strange too. He lost jobs often. Always someone else's fault. Idiot managers, jealous coworkers, toxic environments. I worked longer hours to compensate while he explained why the world misunderstood him. Meanwhile, I stopped buying things for myself because every purchase became a discussion. One winter I wore boots with a hole in the sole for 4 months because I felt guilty replacing them. Yet somehow I still believed I was lucky to be loved. That is the part that makes me feel shame even now. Not that he mistreated me, that I helped him do it by abandoning myself so thoroughly. Toward the end of the marriage, I started sitting in grocery store parking lots after work because I dreaded going home. I would call my father during those drives sometimes. He never pushed, never told me what to do. He would just say things like, "You sound tired, kid," and somehow that hurt more than advice. The night I finally left Daniel was strangely quiet. No screaming. No dramatic scene. He was angry because I bought expensive shampoo. That was the argument. I remember staring at the bottle beside the sink while he talked about irresponsibility and selfishness and how impossible I had become to live with. and suddenly something inside me simply detached. Not courage exactly. More like exhaustion reaching its final form. I packed one suitcase while he sat on the couch muttering about how emotional I was being. Then I drove to a motel with stained curtains and cried because I had nowhere else to go. I should say I felt liberated after leaving. I did not. I felt terrified, then numb, then furious that terror and freedom could feel so similar. For a while my life became painfully small. Work, bills, cheap apartment, microwave dinners, therapy appointments I could barely afford. I adopted my dog Oliver during that time because the shelter volunteers said nobody wanted older dogs. He was already gray around the muzzle, nervous, slightly overweight, and had one ear that stood upright permanently like he was constantly alarmed. He refused to sleep unless part of his body touched mine. Some nights that kept me alive more than therapy did. The strange thing about surviving difficult years is that eventually everyone expects the inspirational ending, the comeback, the stronger version of you. Instead, I became functional, which is different. I built routines because routines prevented collapse. Morning walks with Oliver before sunrise, coffee from the same corner shop, gym twice a week even when I hated it, meal prep Sundays, therapy Thursdays. My apartment stayed clean. My inbox stayed organized. Inside, though, I felt like an abandoned house with electricity still running. Then my father got sick, and all the careful structure I had built around myself started cracking in quiet places. After he died, my mother began calling me constantly. At first I understood it. I truly did. 56 years old and suddenly alone after 30 years of marriage. But grief made her needy in a way that frightened me because I recognized it. Every phone call became an hour of spiraling thoughts and repeated stories and emotional dumping until I sat staring at the wall afterward completely drained. Sometimes she would pause and ask, "Are you still there?" And I would realize I had stopped listening 20 minutes earlier. That guilt sat inside me constantly. Part of me resented her. Another part hated myself for that resentment. She started saying things like, "You're all I have now." People hear sentences like that and think they sound loving. Sometimes they sound like drowning. One evening she cried because I did not answer her third phone call during a work meeting. I nearly snapped at her. Actually felt anger rise into my throat so fast it scared me. Then immediately afterward I felt horrible because she had just buried her husband. Grief turned both of us into people I barely recognized. Around that same time, my body began doing strange things. I forgot simple words during meetings. I woke up exhausted no matter how much I slept. Sometimes I stood in the kitchen unable to decide what to eat until eventually I gave up entirely. One Saturday I spent 40 minutes staring at a television menu without choosing anything. That scared me more than the crying. I kept thinking this cannot be adulthood, this flat gray feeling, this constant maintenance of existence. Online, everybody talks about healing like it arrives with clarity and scented candles and journaling. My reality looked different. It looked like crying while folding laundry, like panic attacks in pharmacy aisles, like envying strangers at restaurants because they seemed capable of wanting things. And underneath all of it was this horrible fear that maybe I had already used up whatever part of me was supposed to feel alive. That thought followed me everywhere, especially at night. Oliver got older quickly after my father died, or maybe I just noticed aging more after that. His walks became slower. Sometimes he struggled climbing stairs. Every time he slept too deeply I checked his breathing. I hated how desperate my love for him felt. One night he curled beside me on the couch while rain hit the windows, and I started crying so suddenly it startled even me. Not graceful crying either. Angry crying, because I was tired of losing things, tired of becoming the strong one, tired of surviving. I remember saying out loud, I don't think I can keep rebuilding." Oliver lifted his head briefly, sighed, then went back to sleep. Honestly, that almost made me laugh. There were still ordinary moments though, tiny ones. They confused me. A woman at the bakery remembering my order. Cold sheets after a shower. Watching Oliver run in snow despite his stiff legs. My father's old voicemail accidentally playing while I cleaned my phone. Sometimes beauty returned for 3 seconds at a time before disappearing again. And maybe this sounds awful, but part of me became jealous of people with simpler pain. People who still believed effort guaranteed happiness somehow. Because I had done everything correctly. Studied hard, worked hard, stayed disciplined, stayed useful, and still ended up sitting alone eating cereal at midnight wondering why being alive felt so heavy. But there was another truth too. One I resisted for months. I had spent so many years trying not to fall apart that I stopped allowing myself to want anything beyond survival. No wonder joy felt unfamiliar. I treated life like a hostage situation. Even now I do it sometimes. Last month my mother asked me if I ever think about dating again. I nearly laughed. The idea felt absurd. Another person needing things from me. Another opportunity to disappear inside someone else's needs. Still, later that night, I caught myself fixing my hair before a video meeting with a coworker I barely knew. Human beings are embarrassing like that. A tiny part of me still wanted to be noticed. Another part was ashamed of wanting it. That contradiction probably says more about me than anything wise ever could. I wish I could end this story with transformation, some beautiful realization. But honestly, most days still feel uneven. Some mornings I wake up hollow. Some mornings I wake up hungry. Sometimes I miss Daniel. Sometimes I hate him. Sometimes I think grief permanently altered the shape of my life. Sometimes I think maybe this numbness is temporary and I just cannot see beyond it yet. I do know one thing though. A few weeks ago I stopped brushing my teeth in the dark. Nothing dramatic happened. I just looked up one night and caught my reflection by accident. I looked tired, older, sadder than before, but I also looked there. And for now, strangely enough, that feels like something worth noticing.